Hey guys, Hector Castillo, Poppy from girlschase.com. Today I want to talk about how to get loose, be loose, stop being so fucking stiff, and this is in honor of one of my students. He has a bit of a stiffy problem, and that sounds like he has an erection problem. He takes too much Viagra and he's just constantly erect. Yeah. Okay, so this is for guys who are too rigid. They're too robotic. This usually comes from guys who are new to this, or even guys who are very advanced, but they're too mechanically inclined intellectually. They're usually intellectual guys. And so the biggest problem, and I'll explain why you're stiff, and again, this is like you're in a social environment and you are slow, but not in a like controlled, calm way. You're slow and like, oh, hello, nice to meet you. You're too formal. You seem too formal. You don't seem relaxed because you're too preoccupied with etiquette or fear, which is what I'm going to go into. And this causes you to not flow through the social interactions, and instead you're taking it step by step by step, and this comes off awkward, and it's very evident. It could be the smallest nuance in your physics. Like you could be doing this, or you could be flowing, but that small nuance of movement, people pick up on it. People pick up on, just like they pick up on facial micro expressions, they're going to pick up on these small nuanced body expressions and movements where you aren't smooth. So I call this the fear paradox. The fear paradox is when you are so preoccupied with social anxiety, social fear, hesitation. My MMA coach used to tell me hesitation is devastation. So when you're fighting in a cage, if you hesitate, you're gonna get fucked up. When you should be loose and wild, controlled if you can, but you need to let your hands fly. You just need to start swinging at some point. You're not always gonna have the perfect moment. And so when you're afraid, for whatever reason, you're going to be stiff. Now the problem is, especially when I pointed this out to the student, is it's kind of like, okay, I'm stiff, don't be stiff, and then you get even stiffer. You know, your dick just gets even harder and you can't fucking move because you realize you're over analyzation. He called it paralysis by analysis, right? That's right, okay. And so you're analyzing your movements, and that's usually what anxiety is it's you're overthinking, but in an inefficient way, and you're questioning every step that you make, every thought that you have, and then every word that you speak, and you're not sure, like, should I say this? How should I say it? And then you say it, and you're stuttering because you're still figuring out, what am I saying right now? This is something that friends anxiety struggled with a lot when I first started doing these videos. I knew what the fuck I was talking about, but as soon as it's starting to come out of my mouth, I'm like, am I making any fucking sense at all? Am I speaking gibberish? And this would cause me to go, which I still do on occasion. Or it would cause me to pause, or it would have me speaking in a way like this, and it happens when you're chewing through your thoughts. And so the paralysis by analysis will cause a fear paradox where you're being stiff because you're afraid for, again, whatever reason, and then you're aware of this, and it just compounds and it gets worse because you're like, fuck, I'm being really awkward right now, aren't I? And then that compounds, and then you get more awkward and more awkward. But I'm here to tell you that you're being awkward and you need to stop being awkward, and the way that you can stop being awkward, to the best of my knowledge, is familiarity and skill. Okay, so familiarity is you go to a new social group, you come to their house, you go to a bar with them, and it's a bunch of people you don't know. Naturally, you're going to be a bit scared, hesitant, depending on your value. And so that's where skill comes in, right? So if you're very socially attuned, you're gonna go in like, okay, I don't know these guys, so I should be chill. And you should. When you join a new environment, you go to a club you've never been to, a bar you've never been to, a social group, party, whatever, you should be a bit aware of what's going on, and you should analyze it. There's nothing wrong with analyzing and thinking, right? You shouldn't be totally intuitive. You wanna also be intellectual, and you want to examine things and dissect them, because then that allows you to have a good strategy when it comes to going in. But when you are so preoccupied with that analysis that you aren't, because you're not familiar with it, you're gonna get locked into that thinking, and you're gonna start spinning your fucking hamster wheel. Now, if you're skilled though, and you're very socially attuned, you're gonna go in and still have that moment of like, what's going on here? But then you're gonna quickly adapt because you've seen this situation many times. So there's two types of familiarity. There's the familiarity of the people or the environment. If you go to a club you've always been to, it's like your home, right? So I used to work in nightclubs. So going to a club for me, if it's a new club, I'm gonna be like, oh, it's interesting. But then I'll be like, oh yeah, I've been here 1,000 times. Maybe this table's right here and the wall's here, but pretty much, if I rearrange it, it's where I used to work. Or you're gonna have a familiarity with that particular setup, the particular social dynamics. So if you're not familiar with those particular people or that particular club, you can be familiar with this particular type of people, right? So if you're used to hanging out with hipsters, you're gonna go to this new bar you've never been to with a bunch of new hipsters you've never hung out with, but then you're going to adjust them. And I say hipsters because I usually end up hanging out with them, even though I fucking hate them. It's a weird paradox. Paradoxes, they're really real, So you're going to be easily navigating it because even though this particular person you never met, you're like, oh, you're kind of like Andrew, right? Oh, you kind of remind me of this douchebag named David, right? You're going to remember this type of person and you're going to apply that. We're special. Everyone's unique. Everyone has their small quirks and their histories that make everyone really, really unique. But at the same time, we can kind of fit into certain boxes. I can fit into the frat star douchebag box. And so if you met someone like me, you can pretty much understand how I'm going to act because you've met someone of that same breed. So familiarity has those two spokes. Then skill is going to be derived from familiarity because as you get familiar with something, you're going to hopefully, if you have any sense of self-improvement, you're going to get better at it. But it's also just going to be a general social skills thing. And this comes from socializing a lot. And so I have a very difficult answer, and usually I give very simple but difficult answers. And it's that if you're dealing with being really tight and rigid and you're not loose and you want to get loose, there isn't some secret I'm going to give you that's going to make you loose. And this was the problem with the student because he's working with me and I want to just like, I don't know, beat it into him. I want to give him the solution, and because I can see who you should be, and I have this with all my clients and even my friends. I look at people and I'm like, I could see how awesome you could be. Like it's an image in my head. Like I see you. I see the way you're acting. I see the way that you should talk and look at the room around you and interact with people. And I can see how cool you could be, but you're not that person. Why? And I want to be able to give that to a person, but I can't. Right? Even the Buddha himself, he just gave you, he would give you a general template of how to meditate. And he just said, you just keep meditating and then eventually you're going to pop into nirvana if you put in the work. But he also had individualized analysis of this particular person and knew, okay, this person kind of needs help with this, right? So that's where coaching comes in handy. So if you want to sign up for coaching, actually, check in the description below. I do in-person boot camps, but I also do Skype coaching if you're not available to come to me or me to you. It's a bit expensive, but we can do Skype coaching as well, and it's very effective. And this allows me to have a personalized touch on my remedy to your problems, to your social anxiety, to your inability to get girls or to get girlfriends. Now, if you don't want to sign up for coaching and have that really personalized experience, though, it's really effective. We also have a program called One Date. You can check it out in the description below. And then I'll just give you a general process, right? So this is like the Buddhist text of getting pussy, basically. And it's called One Date, and it's just going to teach you how to meet a girl and take her on a date, have sex with her. Before that, you talk to her, unless you don't need to. I mean, it's better if we skip that part. But you get her number, you take her on a date, you talk to her, you seduce her, you take her home and have sex, and maybe you turn into a girlfriend. And it gives you a pretty streamlined, easy process to follow. But you're going to have to do the work. So check it out, buy it, but then you're going to have to actually apply it. And that's where familiarity and skill comes in. You're going to be familiar with certain environments, certain types of people, certain types of girls, and then over time you're going to develop skill. That's literally the best answer I can give to you, because whereas you're stiff 5 years ago, you've spent 5 years, working decently hard and spending time socializing with people. And then you're going to realize, you're going to have a memory like, oh, I've been in a situation like this, I've met a girl like her before. I remember I was really nervous, but I seemed pretty calm. That's because you're familiar with her, right? If you want to get a certain type of girl, hang out with a certain crowd of people, you're probably going to have to go through several girls, many severals of girls, and many severals of those social groups because you're gonna have to get that experience with those type of people, and then eventually you'll be cool enough with that type of person, and you'll have a general social skill set that you're going to easily navigate the social waters. And so you're gonna have to break a lot of fucking eggs. Now, what is gonna keep you in the game? The only answer I have for that is passion. I remember asking my student earlier, and I said, well, do you like socializing? And he said, yeah, and then he thought about it first, and I said, no, like really, do you, that was a good question, do you like socializing? And he explained it to me. He's like, well, I don't like things at first until I get good at them. And I was like, okay, that's your particular type of learning. Like, you're not good at it, so you kind of hate it, but then you get better, you're like, okay, I like it a bit more. When I started, I was just like, this is the only thing that I want to do pretty much, and I was just all about it, gung-ho, never thought about it again. Now, that's because I wanted to be who I am today and who I'm working towards being, because it's my biggest passion, my second biggest passion in my life. And so this might not be something you want to do professionally, right? Not all of you are going to be super smooth, moving like fucking water guy. That's going to happen if you work really hard and you're constantly socializing. The people who I know who are super loose with their expressions and the way that they act are the people who just socialize all the time. They're literally hanging out with people all the time. So the more you work and the more familiar you get, the more skill you have. But whether you stay in the game or not is going to depend on how much passion you have. So you're going to have to ask yourself very sincerely, do you not want to be rigid and you want to be loose? You're going to have to get a lot of social experiments. You're going to have to do a lot of social experiments and a lot of failures. And because you have that passion, you're going to stick with it. Or maybe you just want to be moderate, and that's okay. You might want to be really great at this thing, and you want to be decently socialized enough that you can get a girlfriend or hang out with some friends, but you don't want to be amazing. So you're going to get the results that you put into it, because you're going to get more familiar and more skilled the more you work, but that's dependent on your passion. So ask yourself how good you want to be, and then put in the fucking work. Okay. This is Hector Castillo, Poppy from girlshapes.com. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please follow me on Instagram, Poppy Castillo. Send me a DM, screenshots of your text messages. Ask me any question you'd like. I'll try to get back to you. And hope you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, ring the bell. I'll see you soon. Ciao.